Mogul Motivation, empowering and inspiring entrepreneurs and dream chasers worldwide, 1 week at a time. Presented by True Stories Media. And I am your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor. Last week I talked about the unattractive side of entrepreneurship and going after your dreams. And yesterday was a very unattractive day in my life, in my journey, just overall. It was a bad day. It was a very bad day. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm not going to shy away from that. It was a terrible day. A series of unfortunate events that occurred earlier on in the day spiraled and created a domino effect that got worse and worse, and it just put me in a pit, a dark pit that I felt I couldn't get myself out of. I started to compare myself to others. You know, I talk about that a lot on this podcast, and here I am falling into the same trap I warned all of you about not falling into. I started to compare myself to others. I started to tell myself that what I'm doing is pointless. What I'm doing is in vain. It's not going to work out. I started to feel helpless. I started to feel useless, incompetent. I truly believed that everything I was doing, including Mogul Motivation, was for nothing. That's how I felt yesterday. I was frustrated that some of my ultimate and major goals has still haven't come to fruition, despite the fact I've been working at them for 3-4 years. It was a very unattractive day yesterday. Very unattractive. And that's part of what I was talking about last week. It sucked. I basically threw away the entire day. After I couldn't get myself out of this metaphorical pit that I put myself in, I just stayed there. I stayed there. I did meditate. I did pray. But I didn't really get out of that pit. Everything I had planned to do yesterday didn't happen because a series of unfortunate events created a domino effect, and one bad thing after another occurred, mentally, emotionally, and literally. So I went to sleep, and I don't know, it can be a gift and a curse. The fact that I remember a lot of dreams. The fact that I don't forget things in my past. It could be a gift and a curse. I went to sleep, and I remember a couple of my dreams last night. One of the dreams, a podcast that I was doing went terribly wrong. Terribly wrong. And another dream, I was somewhere in the mountains. I'd never really been to the southwestern states of America. I haven't been there yet. You know, I'm talking about Arizona, New Mexico, you know, those states. I haven't been there yet. But in this dream, I feel like I was somewhere in that region because I was surrounded by desert, mountains, and I was drinking a beer, and I was taking photos, landscape photos, which is one of my hobbies that I like to do. I like to take landscape photos. And those two dreams were drastically opposite, right? They were different. One dream, I was doing a podcast, just as I'm doing a podcast right now, but it went terribly wrong. The other dream, I was taking landscape photos, which is a hobby of mine, drinking a beer. What does that mean? Now, I just told y'all yesterday was a bad day for me. It was a very unattractive day for me. But then I had these two abstract dreams. And I remember enough details about them to tell them to you guys. And I came to the conclusion after I prayed this morning, after I meditated this morning, what they possibly could mean. It means that my goals and my dreams, everything I want to accomplish, everything I'm doing is unbothered. I'm the one that was bothered. I'm the one that was in despair. I'm the one that was distressed. I'm the one that was frustrated. I'm the one that made up this metaphorical imaginary pit that I put myself in. I'm the one that made my day worse. Bad days are going to happen. They're natural, but I'm the one that made it worse. Because everything I was telling myself, the fact that my photography goes, I've been a professional photographer for a decade now. A decade. And I told myself that it's not going nowhere. Even though the year 2020, despite it was a pandemic, despite so many people lost their jobs, despite so many people lost businesses, 2020, and I'm still looking at the numbers, was arguably my most successful year in business to date. 2020. With COVID and with all this chaos going on, 2020, I made more money than I did in all the other years in professional photography. Mogul Motivation has grown its listenership every single year since I started in 2016. In fact, it has doubled every single year. It is constantly rising in the global ranks of podcasts in the entrepreneurship genre. We're not on the Apple 100 list yet, but we're getting there. My books are still selling. I'm still working on my next books. Everything that I'm doing is really unbothered. Everything I'm doing is really working out. It was me that was in despair. It was me that was tripping. And I'm not trying to negate the fact that I felt the way I felt. It's okay to feel that way, but the things I was telling myself wasn't true. My goals and my dreams ultimately are unbothered. Because that dream I had about a podcast going horribly wrong, I just told you what Mogul Motivation is doing. And the dream I had wasn't real. It wasn't real, ladies and gentlemen. The dream I had when I was in some desert taking pictures, that's what I love to do. And I'm doing that now. I woke up with the opportunity to do that now. I woke up to the reality that 2020 was a great year and 2021 is off to a great year. Everything I told myself was false. My dreams, my goals, my ambition is unbothered. I'm the one that was bothered. And that's my message to you this morning. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel like what you're doing doesn't seem like it's working. But sometimes you got to be still. Sometimes you got to reset yourself, refocus, gain clarity, and tell yourself the truth, which is the truth is you're still on the right path. Everything you're telling yourself is a result of negative forces trying to distract you. It's not real. Because you're still on the right path. You're still doing what you're supposed to do. You're still where you need to be. Sometimes you have to slow down and appreciate the things you've accomplished, which is reality, and not focus on the things you haven't accomplished yet, which is false, because you're still on the road to accomplishing them anyway. Your dreams, your goals, your ambition is unbothered. We as humans are the ones that's bothered. Because as humans, we're imperfect. But our goals, our dreams, our manifest destinies planted in our minds by God. That's the truth. What's for you is for you. Regardless how hard it is, regardless how frustrating it may be, regardless of the unattractive days you may have. What's for you is for you. And that's what those two obscure abstract dreams told me last night. After a hellish day that I had, those dreams reset my focus and got me back together. And now here I am on Wednesday, Mogul Wednesdays, telling you the truth and telling you that everything is still going to be okay. We're still going to win. We're still going to accomplish everything that we want to accomplish. We're still going to come out on top. Just continue to focus yourself. When you have bad days, when you have unattractive days, let yourself feel that way, but then be still. But then tell yourself, remind yourself of the things you've already accomplished. Remind yourself that you already have a blueprint. You already have a compass, a direction of where you need to go because God told you to go that way. Remind yourself you're still going to get there, and everything you're telling yourself, all the negative things, it doesn't exist. It's fake. It's not real. What's real is that you came this far. What's real is that you're going to go further. And you're going to get there. So that's my message this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to imagine reality. Unattractive days are gonna happen. Unattractive things you tell yourself are not real. What's real is that you're already here and you came this far. Never forget that. If this podcast has benefited you in any way, shape, or form, as always, I ask for two things. Number one, leave a 5-star review. And number two, pass it on to a friend who may benefit from it as well. Have a great day, everyone. I'll talk to you next week.